Whew, sorry it took so long to get this one out, but we're finally here with the first countdown of 2019. And with the way 2019 has been looking so far, the games that will be coming out later this year are going to be amazing. I mean, we've already had some pretty great releases so far, but let's take a step back for a moment and realize video games aren't for everyone. I know, shocking, right? That being said though, maybe this is the year that some people will want to get into video games. Maybe they'll finally want to give them a shot. Today I'm going to be looking over my games that I'd recommend for people that are wanting to get into video games. Or another way to look at this countdown is, these are games to show people that like to enjoy watching others play games, or maybe help make decisions but don't really like being behind the controller. It's a different type of list for a different type of year. There aren't any rules for this countdown either. Also, this list is going to be covering several genres as well, such as first-person view, RPGs, fighting, and so on. And lastly, if I talk about a particular game, I might be talking about the entire series or a specific game in general from that series. It's just going to depend. This is Crow of Murder 15's Top 10 Games for Non-Gamers.
Oh, so it's gonna be one of those games, huh?
Okay, even if you're not a gamer, you can't deny the impact that Super Smash Bros. Has had on the gaming industry. And honestly, it's a good starting point for some gamers. Not to mention it's a good start for people that are interested in fighting games by setting the style of the match to stamina battle and getting new players acquainted to a technical health bar. Now, the reason it's so low on the list is how complicated the game can actually get. It's a game that's easy to pick up and learn, but hard to master. Sure, it's easy to pull off attacks, special moves, and even supers, but then you get into dodging, counters, cancels, wombo combos. Sorry, a lot of non-gamers are probably not understanding a word I'm saying right now.
English, motherfucker! Do you speak it?
Yes!
Oh, so it's gonna be one of those games, huh?
I know at first glance that Minecraft can technically be looked at as the video game version of Legos, and honestly, you're not far off if you're playing the game in creative mode and don't have to worry about gathering resources. And there's nothing wrong with that. Heck, even some colleges are using this game to help with engineering classes. But sometimes you just want to kick back and experiment. Soon enough, you'll be making awesome 16-bit pixel art and showing your friends going, "Hey, look what I made!" That is until a creeper comes along and decides, "Hey, nice structure you have there. Would be a shame if something were to happen to it."
What the fuck?
Oh, so it's gonna be one of those games, huh?
Animal Crossing is one of those game series that a lot of people look at and consider one of those casual games. And honestly, that's why this series is a perfect pick for this list. There aren't any enemies, you can play at your own leisure, and there's tons to do. Decorate your house, meet new neighbors, attend awesome holiday-themed events. It's just a nice and relaxing paced game that lets you do whatever you want. I mean, sure, you have a greedy raccoon that's tracking your every movement to make sure you pay them the bells that you owe them, but, you know, that's nothing to worry about. Right?
You owe me, I heard you owe me some money. You know what I do to people. You know what I do to fellas. Chip, chip, chiroo.
Oh, so it's gonna be one of those games, huh?
Yes, I understand a lot of people think this series, let alone the first game, is highly overrated. But seriously, get a group of friends together, take one brave soul to take the controls, and let the fun begin. Honestly, it's just highly entertaining to see some people's reactions to the jump scares, though personally, I'm not very fond of them myself. I'd recommend playing the first one though, where the later games in the series start to get a little more technical with their designs. This is definitely one of those games where people get an adrenaline high off of being scared, and I am not one of those people. Hell, this is the reason I don't go to Billy Bob's anymore.
Oh, so it's gonna be one of those games, huh?
If you have a friend that's always been into fantasy and magic, then Gauntlet Legends is the perfect start to whet their appetite for some good old dungeon crawling hack and slash goodness. Literally 3 buttons, your directional pad or joystick, and let the adventures begin. Now, some might be asking, why not Gauntlet Dark Legacy instead? Well, Legends is a shorter game with fewer characters to select from, so it wouldn't be too imposing to new players. Plus, the older ones, while simplistic, just were, I don't know, something about them seemed a little too complicated. Like the old NES ones is what I'm particularly talking about. Of course, the funny part is seeing who's doing the worst in the group when you hear, "So-and-so needs food badly."
Shut up!
Oh, so it's gonna be one of those games, huh?
I've gone on record to say Portal is one of the best games out there, and for good reason. This kind of falls under the same category as Minecraft with someone wanting to get into the FPS genre, but here it's taken to a more critical thinking manner than just run and gun, where the earlier parts of the game don't involve enemies or things that can potentially kill you. It gives the player plenty of time to get used to the double joystick style of gaming that most FPSs use today. Trust me, it's a lot better than what we used to have to do for the N64 with Turok and GoldenEye, where you have to use the C sticks rather than a second joystick. Trust me, kids today have it a lot easier with these controls.
You see, back in those days...
Shut up!
Oh, so it's gonna be one of those games, huh?
I know a lot of gamers out there are seeing this pick and thinking, Crow, do you want people to end their friendships? And while that could possibly happen, it's a great way to spend an evening with a group of friends, especially friends that like board games. Now, granted, most actual board games don't have fun little mini games in them, but it's still quite a lot of fun. The controls for each mini game are simplistic enough that anyone could pick it up and play it. Plus, you get a pick from all your favorite Super Mario characters to play as. Though, if I had to make a recommendation for which Mario Party game to play, I'd recommend Super Mario Party for the Nintendo Switch. At least you won't have to worry about the joystick burn like you would with the Nintendo 64 days. Man, I seem to be griping about that system a lot.
Fucking thing sucks!
Oh, so it's gonna be one of those games, huh?
Do you have a friend that's not really worried about gameplay all that much and just wants a good story to sink into? Well, the Telltale games have you covered. There's something for almost everyone. You've got series like The Walking Dead, Back to the Future, Sam & Max Freelance Police, Guardians of the Galaxy, Borderlands, and so much more. The great thing about these games is there's technically no wrong way to play them. I mean, sure, there are some quick time events in some of them that will give you a game over, but it literally picks right back up where you left off. Plus, it's a great way to introduce people to different media that might not be familiar with the original source material. Now, the only downside to this is Telltale Games unfortunately had to be shut down back in 2018. Looks like somebody else will have to pick up that mantle for these point-and-click adventure games.
Well, back to the old drawing board.
Oh, so it's gonna be one of those games, huh?
Everyone and their mother has heard of Undertale, one of the biggest indie RPGs to ever grace us with its magnificence. This is quite possibly one of the best games to introduce someone to RPGs. Well, maybe not all RPGs considering the main mechanic of Undertale, the act and spare feature, because when someone thinks of a video game that's not familiar with them, their first thought when they come across a monster is to kill them, and as we all know, that's not particularly the case when it comes to Undertale. It shows people that some video games aren't just about killing and destroying, that there are other ways to end conflict rather than resorting to violence. But if you prefer to play that way, the consequences of your actions make sure to follow you throughout your adventure, even if you decide to go back and do it the right way after going through a genocide run.
Oh, so it's gonna be one of those games, huh?
This is a story of a game known as the Stanley Parable. Yeah, most of you that know about this game know exactly where I'm going with this. The Stanley Parable is quite the experience for those unfamiliar with it. It's a first-person game with a very narrative-driven theme, but when I say narrative, I don't exactly mean storytelling. Throughout the game, you have a narrator telling you what's going on. However, you, the player, don't exactly have to follow their direction. Maybe you just want to relax in the break room. Maybe you want to avoid talking to your boss. Or maybe you just want to stay inside your safe little cubicle like nothing ever happened. I won't go into too many details with this game because it's better to experience it firsthand for those that have no idea what's going on. And hey, Later this year, the Ultra Deluxe Edition will be coming out for PC and console with even more gameplay options. And that's why the Stanley Parable is my #1 video game for non-gamers. I'm Crow of Murder 15, and if you excuse me, the voice in my head is telling me to quit being so lazy and make more countdowns? Well, screw you too, you son of a... Hey guys, this is Crow of Murder 15. Thank you so much for checking out this top 10 countdown. If you want to see more, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification to get updates on all the latest videos. And make sure to take some time to check out my Let's Play show, Game Bros. Thanks again guys, and we'll see you next time.